Noodlers, welcome to another episode of Instant Ramen, or as I like to call it, Sopa Maruchan. Tonight, we have the chicken flavor sopa for you. It's another Texas Derby edition of Instant Ramen. Today, we have our neighbors up north in southern Oklahoma. But before I introduce our guest tonight, my partner, OSG. How are you doing, sir? How are you, my friend?
Yo, bro, love the energy and the intro as always. As always, partner in crime, Ramen. Love it, bro. But yeah, bro, I'm good, man. I'm good. Obviously disappointed on the result last weekend, and then now we have to play another Texas team, and and you throw everything out the window because rivalries, rivalries debate
This
with
one's
you,
legit.
sir.
This one's
All
legit.
right,
This one's
this one
legit.
is legit. For rivals, you
Yeah.
throw everything out the window, and you never know what happens. So, but I'm ready for it. I will be there. I'm traveling for it. Jose, I hope to meet you right there. I'll be working the game, so we'll see what's going on. But man, I'm good, bro. I'm good. So sorry I said Jose, but Arman,
Yeah,
how
you
you
let the
doing,
cat
brother?
out the bag. It's a perfect segue. Jose, welcome. This is your show. You're more than welcome to come whenever you want, my friend. Thank you for joining us. It's good to see you. Real quickly, how are you? And give us an introduction about yourself and the work that you do, buddy.
Yeah, bro, I appreciate that, Headman. Look, man, I love OSG's energy right now, bro. I'll say that. I'll say that with my chest. I love the energy. Energy coming off of a loss like this is rare. I will say that it's rare. Look, boys, I appreciate you guys having me on. I feel like I didn't get a chance to talk to you guys enough last season when FC Dallas are doing a little bit better than they are now. But with that said, man, any chance I get, to talk footy, to come on this show, Instant Ramen, or the sopa, as Hedman put it, this is to me all the fun in the world, bro. It's gonna be a great show. And look, outside of that, I mean, I don't even have any plugs for tonight, boys. I'm all about this show locked into tonight. Let's get it going.
Excellent, excellent. Perfect segue into our first question. Right at it. Last time we spoke, Jose, you were very, and I mean extremely confident that your team FC Dallas was going to have a strong season and they were going to contend.
Yeah.
They were going to contend. I like to think I have a big screen for my phone, but I got to keep scrolling to find you on the table, buddy. The the first
Woo!
question is
Shots
what the
fired.
Hey, listen, it's a long season, boys. It's a long season. Look, I will say
It's
right
a
now,
long
Dallas,
list. It's a long
a
list.
long injury list. It's a long injury list. I
That's
will,
the
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
Yes. What happened?
and if I get a chance to answer it, I'll answer it. Look, what I'm saying is, look, it's a long list. I agree. It's a weird spot Dallas is in, but we all saw what Kansas City did last season after they lost the opening 10 or
yeah,
11
yeah.
games of the season, bro. I
Oh
think
yeah.
Dallas is in a very interesting spot. I'm trying my best to be optimistic because I think anybody who watches Dallas or has seen us in recent seasons knows this is not the team we're used to seeing. Biggest reason why you could point to injuries, right? Sure. I think it's the easy cop out excuse. Hey, we're missing Ferreira, we're missing Pamacol, we're missing Velasco, et cetera, et cetera. There's a bunch of players that we're missing. With that said, I'm going to say this right now. The players that we're missing are not the reason we have the start that we're having to this season. And I don't know if I can curse on this show. I don't know if I can curse on this show. If I can, great. It is fucking Nico Estevez, bro. Nico Estevez, as much as the last couple seasons I have backed this man tooth and nail, despite some of the Berhalter ball we've had to deal with in Dallas in the last couple seasons, how pragmatic he wants to be, and sometimes, like even this season, introducing random formations that make our fan base feel like we've gone backwards in a season when we were supposed to be going into one of the most exciting times in the history of the fan base. A record signing from Benfica and Petar Musa. And yeah, I'm sure Nico is pointing to like, look at our bench, look at who I'm starting out there. Sure, bro, I get it, but bro, there are teams out there. Wilfred Nancy is out there playing academy kids with the Columbus Crew and putting up better results than Dallas is right now. It doesn't make sense to play the way that we're playing. I get that it's hard to score goals without Jesus Ferreira. We saw that last season. But bro, it boggles my mind that this manager cannot even have an identity with the way he wants to play on the pitch, man. It's frustrating as hell. This fan base is somewhat torn right now. I'm not going to go as far as we're saying that we were Austin FC from last year. I think if we start to lose more games, that possibility becomes real. The whole Wolf out movement. At this point, it's going to be a Nico out movement here pretty soon. But man, I know we're playing with a bunch of backups. Don't get me wrong, but I got a feeling that it's not just them. I think they're getting, I don't know, mixed signals or a terrible strategy from the man who's leading them right now. With that said, we've looked half decent in games defensively, but damn, we can't score. Like Musa got a goal last week, and that's kind of cool. But like outside of him, if they double guard him, there's literally nobody else on the pitch to score. So it's like, I know, look, in Houston, you guys have done really, really well without some of your attacking players. Like, I actually give Houston credit as an FC Dallas fan this season because I thought without guys like Quinones and Ache and, even Sebas for a while that I was like, dude, Houston might have one of the slowest starts they've had in a long time. But you guys, on the back of your defense, have put it together a lot of decent results. And I'm wondering in my mind, why the hell Dallas can't do the same thing? Like, we still have a halfway put together back line. I don't know where it's going. But look, man, with that said, preparing for this week, man, I'm hoping to God we can just take advantage of the fact that Ache has just come back. He's not fully healthy yet. We're not hopefully going to get exploited by Quinones. Aliyu might be a different story, right? But I feel like Dallas is in a really interesting tipping point. I'm going to call this shot right now. If we lose this Texas derby, and more importantly, if we get blown out, if it's like a 3-0 or some shit like that, Dallas has to seriously consider firing Nico. Like it has to happen, in my opinion. I think this is a rivalry game. Austin's one thing. I'm kind of like you guys, where I feel like Austin FC fans are just trying to find the rivalries wherever they can. I get it. But this is the Texas derby. If you get blown out in this matchup, Nico out needs to be trending on fucking Twitter or X or whatever it's called. It needs to be a Nico out movement. I believe that, yes, we have injury problems, but this team should be performing better than they're currently performing right now. I'm actually very upset as a Dallas fan.
Well, so that segues into the schedule that you had, and I know Germán has a lot of questions about Nico SS because that was part of his script. But you beat San Jose. Whoop-de-doo at this point of the season because San Jose is you're right, nothing. But after that it's 7 winless with 2 ties, 5 losses right there. And you said defense has been keeping you in the games and you can't score. Sounds like the same friggin' story going over here. We can't score. We know our defense is secure. They'll keep us in games, but we might lose because of a mistake. Obviously, from friggin' Aston coming in here. And, that's another story for yesterday. We won't talk about that again. So, expectations, bro. Like, what? Nico. So it's Nico. It's not just the players, the style. You said it's changing and everything. No. So, y'all are just kind of over I saw y'all playing a 3-4-1-2 or a 3-4-2-1. I was like, what the hell is that?
It just doesn't make sense. OSG, I'm telling you, man. Like, if you actually watch this team play, look at them last year. When I have not seen a 3-back formation be successful in Major League Soccer outside of maybe Wilfred Nancy last season when he did the Columbus Crew. And that's like he's a very dynamic manager. Nico Estevez and Josh Wolf have a lot in common, bro. A lot in common. They both came from Berhalter, right? They're both assistants under his USMNT staff. And they play very similarly. Like, Nico may try to run this 3-4-1-2, whatever he's trying to run, but it nets out the same result as what Wolf is trying to do down in Austin. It becomes a crossing simulator, right? It just becomes like, can we find Musa with an early ball over the top? When that defense that we're playing against, regardless of how bad they might be, they know where we're going. We have no Ferreira on the field. We have no Velasco on the field. We have no Pamacol on the field. So where do we go? We're going to our $10 million signing in Musa. The whole world knows it. Right? So if they're getting that instruction all week when they're training to play against us, why is that our strategy? Why are we not trying to build up in other ways? Build up through the midfield, be a little more dynamic, have a different approach, man. Like, I don't know. I think with Nico, it's been, if you look at our games, you mentioned 1 win, and then the 7, basically L's in my opinion that we've taken. The only good thing that's come in that time has been that since that win against San Jose, our defense was terrible after that for like 2 games in a row because of that 3-back formation. It was so exploited. They were just crossing every ball in early. We were getting beat on just balls over the top nonstop. And that's how we lost to Vancouver. That's how we lost to Montreal. It was just constant. And then Nico decided, okay, let's stop the fucking bleeding. Change the formation back to a 4-back and switch up some of the starters. And he did that, and we kept back-to-back clean sheets going into the Colorado game. So it's like we kind of see that, like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, man. Like, pick a system that really brings every player's strengths on the field to life, right? And be creative enough through some of the players that we have, like Yaramendi, like at times Legit. And I granted that's probably all we got right now. Sealy is terrible. Fucking Areola is non-existent in my opinion. So it's like you have 2 or 3 players that can create something a little bit, and just offer us some kind of an outlet outside of the width play, because it's not working. It's not working, and right now everybody knows it. And I'll say this: if we get blown out, like I said before, and Nico doesn't get fired, this is the message that the ownership sends to the rest of the fan base. This is the message that we're okay being mediocre. We're okay being the only fucking MLS 1.0 club to have yet to lift MLS Cup. We're probably not the only one, but we're up there.
No, that's a good follow, because in the history of the Dallas Burn and FC Dallas, I know Armand's heartbeat is going over there. He's ready to go. Is how close is this to being the history's worst start? Or I know you have 5 points, so that's not like the worst.
It's very close. But it's very close.
Yeah. So it's like you said, no titles or anything. So the club's used to being okay, right?
They're used to being okay. That's the thing. I would say the club is used to being profitable. And in MLS, what does profitable mean? Profitable means you have a team that sees some kind of success. They make playoffs more often than not, right? And then when they get that success, the secondary layer of success is what? They know how to sell talent. They make money in other ways. Dallas does that. They raise the talent up before it ever gets a chance to become an MLS superstar. They ship them out to Europe or wherever. So that's typically what the club has been. Now, with that said, we've made some big signings in the past. Let's take Alan Velasco, for example. But that usually didn't ever come because we're a profitable club until we sell off a big name. We sold Ricardo Pepi last time. We bring in Alan Velasco. Cool. Like, we kind of keep that going. This is the first year that I can remember. And I've been watching games since I was a Burn fan back in 98 at the Cotton Bowl. So this is the first year that I can remember where we went out and made a record signing for nothing. I thought we were going to move Jesus Ferreira on. I thought he was going to go to Europe, and that's why we were going to get Musa. We didn't. We signed him anyway. So that sent the message to me that, dude, finally, ownership and the FO is taking advantage of what we're building up in Dallas and trying to create a winning season beyond just playoffs. Make a deep run towards MLS Cup. Not win it, but make a deep run. Be a top 4 team in the West. And bro, right now we're nowhere fucking near that. We're nowhere near that, and I think when you're this far from it, when you're bottom 2 in the easier conference in Major League Soccer, it's not just injuries. You can't just say that's the only reason, that's the only excuse. We're not the only team that's dealing with injuries right now. Houston, you guys are the perfect example. You have some very key injuries, yet you're finding some results. And that, to me, is like a spit in the face. We're rivals. You're almost showing us how to do this. And the FO is just saying, fuck it. That's my biggest problem with it, right? Is that, like, I want this club, the FO, and the manager to give a shit, to care about what the fans are plugging into this week in and week out. I back my boys week in and week out to at least try and perform. And now I'm getting to a point where I'm like, damn, bro. I'm not saying is this season chalked, but I'm saying, like, something needs to turn around quickly. We are entering Peter Vermees hot seat SKC levels of being bad, and Nico can't survive that. Peter Vermees is an MLS legend. Nico cannot survive that. He can't.
The way Jose feels is how half the Astros fan base feels right now.
Oh yeah,
bro.
Jose,
it's just I'm frustrated, man. I'm frustrated.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. We
can tell.
frustration. I feel it for you, bro.
Yeah. It's crazy, bro. It's
But
crazy. I never thought last season, ending the season, and trust me, we didn't even end it great. Like, our playoff series with Seattle was one of the most boring that I've seen in a long time. Like, it just was. It was two teams that could not score. Seattle too, and Seattle's also bad this season, by the way. But like two teams that have fallen off heavily from 2023, and you could kind of see that we were kind of getting to that point last year, which is why we made the signing that we did. But it hasn't translated to anything yet, and I'm pissed about it.
so let me ask you two quick questions real quickly, and then I'll let OSG ask his. But before I do, I want every Dynamo fan that is listening right now to rewind like 5 minutes where Jose started and listen to that again. Our fan base complains about, oh, we haven't signed anybody big. And part of your frustration that I hear is, I applaud the club for spending big, but fit matters most. So the signing can be successful. Personally, I think the Dynamo have done a great job at that. But our fan base bitches and complains that we don't sign a big signing. So just for our fan base, I want them to go listen to what you just stated, because I remember the day you signed your striker from Benfica. Oh man, FC Dallas doing it. You know, half the fan base was upset because we're not making those type of moves. What matters is the fit and how they're gonna be successful in this scheme. Okay, so the two questions was, you touched on them already. I just want to make sure you answer them clearly for our fans. What, name me the injuries, and then you touched on it already. What is the formation? I know you don't know, it's not clear, but what can we expect on this weekend?
Yeah.
You
What's
touched
the
on them.
main idea? Yeah, what's the main
Yes,
idea?
Yeah.
yeah. What's the main
I
idea?
shit on the formation because I don't like it, because I feel like it. I know what it is, but it doesn't make sense, because it's like Nico thinks he's Pep Guardiola and he can change. He has the pieces to drastically change up a formation when he doesn't. But with that said, what you can expect, because I imagine we'll do the same thing, is a 3-4-1-2 most likely. And so a 3-4-1-2, for those who aren't familiar, 3-back line, 4 midfielders, with the 2 outside mids in that 4 being the up and down outside backs and attack and outside mids at the same time. And then a 1-2. So 1 attacking mid sitting behind, or potentially it could be a 2-1 or a 1-2. It just depends on how Nico wants to do it. Either 2 attacking mid sitting behind a striker, or 1 attacking mid sitting behind 2 forward options. It really just depends. And look, I'll be honest, like with this, what you guys can expect is a Dallas team that, because of how many pieces we're missing in the midfield, will likely set up in a low block. That's probably what they'll do. They've done it just about every game this season. First half, sit back, absorb the pressure, because there will be a lot. And I expect Ache to start this time. So, you know, that there will be a lot of pressure between him and Coco that they're creating for Yaramendi and Liam Fraser. So I think they'll sit back, they'll try to hit you on the counter. And I think when they do, it'll be with our width. It'll be with guys like Dante Sealy. It'll be with guys like Paul Arriola, who have, like, you know, somewhat of the pace to cause some problems. And they'll whip in early crosses to try and find Musa. That is most likely what will happen, because as much as I have been screaming for Nico to make changes to the starting lineup, especially on the outsides, he hasn't listened to one person at all season. It's been Sealy and Arriola every game, despite the fact that we make changes with 30 minutes to go, 20 minutes to go, we play so much better. So I don't know.
Watch the game tape from last weekend.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think, look, man, that's probably going to be how we set up. Musa will be the one to cause problems, right? Because of his movement, his pace, his height. But I think personally, Houston has a good enough back line where if he doesn't get real help, what you guys are probably going to end up doing is pushing Musa back into the midfield, where he has to get the ball where Ferreira used to have to get the ball as a 10, right? Come deep into the midfield, grab it, and then try to be somewhat of the facilitator, which means that Houston's back line, and honestly, the first half may not even have that much to do unless they're guarding him on a cross. That's pretty much it. In the second half, we may pick things up with the tempo, right? We may bring on Kamungo. We may bring on Endily, guys who have pace who are going to challenge Houston and maybe some of the legs that are waning a little bit throughout the game. I don't think Nico will change the formation. I think he's only ever changed it twice this season, and it was to start games. He never adjusted midway through. So I fully expect that 3-4-1-2 or that 3-4-2-1 to be what he goes with all game long. Just simply personnel changes to give us a spark that maybe we don't have in the second half. But again, I don't think we're even looking for a spark. I think Nico at this point is just trying not to get dunked on. That's really what I think. I think he's trying to avoid losing big and keep us in the game until we get to the final 20 minutes or so, where we can really start whipping in a ton of crosses to Musa, and he gets on the back of one. I mean, that's how it's worked out for us every game so far this season. And what was the second question, by the way, Hedman? I forgot.
Just basically name the players that are out injured, and if they are a DP, let us know.
Yeah.
Well, no. 5 of them, right? There's 5 of them that I named, and Jesus is one of them too. 5 of them, like, they're all starters, right?
Yeah, they're all starters. And it used to be worse. I'm laughing because it used to be worse. It used to be like 7 or 8 starters that were out. The season has not started well for FC Dallas. We have, so from back to front, we still have Marco Farfan that's out, which, for those who don't remember, I mean, was our go-to outside back last season. It's such a shame because Juka's he's okay. He's like a good utility option. He's just not Farfan. And I think hopefully he's back. I thought he was gonna be back last week, but apparently he had like another head injury or I don't know what the hell they do at training, but he couldn't come back. So there's them. That's our starting left back. Our starting right back, Jesus, also out. He's probably out until like summer. Like he's not gonna be here for this game. Pamukal out for the season, which was one of the biggest losses by far. He was one of our go-to center mids to pair with Yaramendi, so no threat there. Which we got an aging 34, 35-year-old midfielder, has to do everything himself. You have Alan Velasco out until summer. One of the highlights of our team, right? Prolific winger. And then Jesus Ferreira, which of these 5, he's probably the only one realistically. Him and maybe Farfan, but Farfan I think is still a long shot. I think Jesus Ferreira was 50-50. He was questionable until game time against Colorado. So he may come off the bench against Houston. I just don't know how realistic it is. I know that they were taking his injury very slowly. So we'll see if he comes back for this one.
Perfect. OSG?
Yeah, man. So looking at, you're going to go with that 3-4-1, and you're going to be outpossessed a majority of the game. Are you confident with that defensive style of formation? Because we will push, and if we'll hit Aliyu on the wing, obviously, and then I don't know if you follow Houston enough, you know that we don't have a right winger per se. It's Dorsey overlapping from the right back side, and Bossi is pushing in to Seba, who's playing the false 9, or unless Seba should get our start this fine. So we should have an actual striker this friggin' game, which is a plus. XP does not go up at all, trust me. So we'll find out, and we'll see how that works out. But are you confident in playing that style against Houston coming in? I know the rivalry throws everything out the window. 3 draws in a row playing each other as well. I can't remember the last time Houston won in Frisco. South Oklahoma, North Texas Toll Road. I mean, so what? Yeah, are you? You haven't sound confident in the team right now, and I understand it. But going into this game, hosting at home, playing Dynamo rivalry, throw everything out the friggin' window. Is this the game to where finally y'all can turn the tables? Austin just did it. We'll see how they play this weekend and continue it. It's an opportunity, right?
Yeah, maybe. I think if we're going to have a shot, it has to be. Look, I think to your first point, OSG, we will concede possession. I think it'll happen. It'll have to happen, right? Like we just don't have the depth right now in the midfield to like try and keep up. So why even bother? Try to absorb the pressure. But here's the part that I was hoping Dallas would implement with all these injuries that we haven't seen yet. It's the work rate of this team defensively and what happens when we transition. Like we haven't seen that yet. So like for an example, right? When I say that, I'm referring to Dallas's work rate off the ball. Can we? I know we're sitting in a low block, but can we press them? Can we make it somewhat uncomfortable them for Houston when they're in possession, even a little bit, right? Force them to go sideways, force them to go back at times, right? But be a very hard-working unit off the ball. We really haven't been that team. Now, additionally, in transition, when let's say they try a ball over the top, or Aliyu gets all the way down the wing, they cross it in. Something Martin Boss is really good at is coming out as a keeper for the ball and cutting out some of those crosses before they ever become dangerous. So can we collect that ball and then have someone who's got the instinct, right, on the wing, a Sealy, an Areola, somebody along those lines, to take off and get ready for that long ball to come and maybe exploit some of the spaces that Dorsey's leaving in behind, that others might be leaving in behind. That's what I think the game plan has to be. It has to be very pragmatic, very focused, understand that we're not going to have the ball, but that's okay. Like, there are plenty of teams in MLS who don't have possession, but they win games. And I will even note, granted, we don't have anywhere near the talent of LAFC, but LAFC does this right now. It's a weird team to watch. They're a team who works in transition, not a team who controls games. And I think that you can do that if you have a clear-cut plan. And this is where I will say, in a derby this big, because the Texas derby is this big, Nico needs to have a different level of preparation for this. You need to go in and have the team understand that, look, they're going to dominate us on the ball. Fine. But when we get it, can we have a very clear-cut and fast plan of action to exploit them and push Houston back? Because otherwise, if we don't, this is just going to be a Houston show on our home field all day long. It's going to be them crossing in. And even if they don't score right away, eventually, with the volume of opportunities that you'll get, if that's the way it's going to go, you'll score at some point. It's going to happen, right? So can we limit that? I think the only way you can limit that is by scaring them a little bit. Hit them on the counter a few times, push the team back, and force them to be a little bit slower with how they build up. Because if we don't do that, we're in real, real trouble. I firmly believe that.
Both styles are going to play into each other this game. And it's going to be, again, like Germán just talked last game, who's going to make the first mistake, who's going to make the most mistakes. It's going to become important. For those who watched the last game against Austin, Steve had to make some mistakes, and Stuver had to make some saves, and Stuver had to make some saves. Defense actually absolutely came into play that game, obviously with a 1-0 score, and it was one major mistake, a goal kick, a header. Defense was flat-footed. You get beat. It's one touch, boom, and a shot. That's your second touch. There's nothing you can do as a defender. And obviously Clark had nothing to do because he couldn't even dive. He's like, he was beat. He should have expected it and should have made a play, but whatever. It is what it is. Those friggin' little broccolis came into Houston. I've got broccoli over my face. I hate vegetables. I'm sick to my stomach. And then back it up. We have to come to Frisco now and have to play y'all with the risk of losing again to another Texas rival. Actually, I shouldn't say Texas so loud. Rival so loud, because it is a rivalry, especially with Dallas. It is a rivalry. Austin, I do consider a rivalry. Germán's got a debate with Austin going on right now. I don't think it's exploded, but I might. Kind of instigate. Yeah. I might instigate just for some clicks. No, but yeah. I leave it at that, man. Germán.
I agree with you, man. And look, I think if to wrap the whole Dallas opportunity, how Rigoni scored, Dallas has scored that way multiple times already this season, right?
Right.
It always starts with Eugene Ansa, because he's kind of one of the taller ones up front, like getting a ball flicked to him. Or vice versa. He does the flicking onto another forward, and we just score on the counter. Have zero possession for most of the game, and then you score on the counter.
Yeah.
MLS is weird like that, man. It's really weird. But and I think that's the approach that we have to come at this with. Just understand that Houston's going to control the game, and that's fine. All we have to do is bend, not break, and then see what happens. And look, I will say this, man. With the form Dallas is in, even if it's at home, like you said before, all form goes out the window in a rivalry. I think all the pressure after losing to Austin FC, all the pressure, in my opinion, is on Houston. I think if Houston loses back-to-back Texas games, it's not pressure on the team or in my opinion, not even Olsen. I think it's just it makes the fans feel uneasy about what's to come. Maybe as we get closer to the League's Cup in the summer, as we go through the dog days of summer, and how much the leader the standings tend to shift at that part of the season. So at some point, I think Dallas will figure it out. I think at some point, whether it's with Nico or not, I have no idea if he'll stick around the full 2024 season. But I think at some point they'll figure it out. But it's just we got to find a way to give the fans something in games like this. You have to, absolutely have to. It is necessary. And if you can't, Nico, get the fuck out of the way so somebody else can. That's the only way I could put it. Only way I could put it.
If I'm a casual Dynamo fan and I take a look at your roster, having not listened to this episode, knowing the injuries and the Nico style that's holding you back, Jesus Ferreira stands out. But also a name that I recognize as a soccer fan is Illaramendi. Real Sociedad, La Liga, his whole entire career. I cannot do this episode without asking you about your evaluation on Illaramendi, because that's the type of signing that most fans want, right? Like, oh man, like aging superstar in Europe, let's get his ass,
Yeah.
What is your evaluation on Illaramendi? Then I'll give it to OSG and we can go into the score predictions for this game.
Yeah, Illaramendi, man, analysis, he's been the sole bright spot in Dallas so far. I would say Musa, you could say he's up there because he has goals as a new signing, but like that's just him being better than the options that we have around him right now. I think Illaramendi, he got injured, and we really, if you look at the stretch of 3 or 4 games that he missed this season, that's probably all of the goals that we've conceded. And it's because not because our defense is inherently bad. Like don't get me wrong, it's a lot of backups back there, but like so much of, and this is where I give Houston a lot of credit too, so much of a good defense are the 1 to 2 players that sit in front of them and controlling play from those areas. And Illaramendi is a conductor. He's a maestro. He knows how to hold the ball, when to release it, when to look for certain players in space. He's constantly scanning the field. And while he's mid-30s, right, 34, 35, an aging player, he's still got some juice in the legs, surprisingly, man. That first goal they scored in the season, that volley against San Jose, just kind of, it almost looked like a flashback. It was like, damn, like I didn't think he still had a shot like that with his weak foot, but he still got it. It's just like in a one-off game, I back that man through and through. But over the course of a season, without Pomacall, I think it's very difficult to rely on a 35-year-old midfielder just because of like how rough and how physical MLS is. Like, he's going to need help. But him alone as a player, man, we saw it when we brought him in last season. Like, the minute he was on the field, everyone just tries to find him the ball because he just knows what to do with it. He knows how to be smart with the ball, how to keep it, when to release it. And so I think he's someone that we'll probably look to a lot for in this game. But unfortunately, he still needs more pieces around him, which is why I think this will be a really interesting chess match, I think, between someone like Ache and someone like Illaramendi. I think Ache is a physical specimen that Illaramendi can't really match, so he's going to have to be smarter on the ball, kind of use more of his brain to get around someone as dominating as Ache on the field. It's going to be really, really fun to watch.
Yeah. So class is permanent is what you're telling me.
100%.
Which is good. That's what we want to see as fans, right? Good soccer. OSG?
Yes, sir. Last little question. So, knowing you follow every friggin' body in the world and every MLS and everything, just from everything that I see that you talk about and post about. So,
yeah,
you understand the tiki taka that the Dynamo play and the one touch, the here, the go, and they're looking for that very next pass instead of the very next, or instead of the pass that sets up the shot. They're still looking for that very next pass. The defense that you have right now, you said you're missing a couple players left and right. Will your defense be able to, because I think we're going to have Sebas back. He's going to start. We're going to have Ache we expect to start. There shouldn't be no reason why he doesn't start this time. He's not a 90-minute guy anyway, so sub him out late if he's struggling, whatever. They refuse to do so, whatever. Will your defense be able to are they? Is the chemistry? All right, yeah, there it is. Is the chemistry well enough to stop this tiki taka 1-touch, 2-touch pass play to get into the box and put Payas under pressure enough to where you're relying on Payas more than you're relying on your defense during that game, like the Dash do Jane Campbell.
Yeah. Boz has, bro, he's had to be so massive for us already this season
Yes.
because of just
Yeah.
how bad we've been defensively. But keep in mind, I will say this. It was really interesting. We kind of got dunked on for signing Omar Gonzalez defensively in the offseason. But I thought it was actually a pretty decent signing for depth because I thought Tafari would start, which he was the starting center back for all of last season, probably the best defender that we had, and started the first 3 or 4 games this season. What's been very, very interesting about that is that Tafari has since been benched the last 3 games in a row. And I think it's not an injury. This is purely a coach's decision because of, in my opinion, I don't know if this is true or not, so it's all speculation, but I just think the urgency isn't there. I think he's losing duels in ways that we can't forgive anymore. I think it's like he's too casual on the ball. He doesn't fight for every single 50-50. He doesn't sprint to every ball that's heading out of bounds. I don't know if he's not giving his all. I won't say that. It just doesn't feel like he's urgent enough. And I think that we noticed that. So we moved into the age of Omar Gonzalez starting at center back at however old he is, 34, 35, 36 years old, in a 3-back system, which I never thought I'd see the day. Just never thought I'd see the day. As someone who knows this game in and out,
Yes.
I couldn't even put together a team on FIFA or Football Manager with Omar Gonzalez in a 3-back line. It just wouldn't make any sense ever. With that said, 2 out of those 3 games have been clean sheets. So I'll give him some props. I think he's been decent. But Ibiaga next to him and Junka next to him, if that's the starting back line against Houston, the only way that we can make sure that Boss has some help, as I said it before, if the 2 in front of those 3 center backs are decent, and if the 2 wing backs who are actually wide midfielders do their damn job. So Sealy has not been that good offensively, but he's been decent defensively. He comes back and he wrestles for the ball. Areola too, although I will say he thinks more like a midfielder in the sense that he makes bad decisions. He slides for balls they shouldn't be sliding for. He should just stand players up sometimes. I think defensively he's missing some of that acumen. But, I think the chemistry isn't there, but I don't know if it needs to be. This needs to be just a team that does the work. If they do the work, right, and it's think about it. Go out there and tell a team that they're not going to have hardly any of the ball, and you're just going to run, and you're going to run, and you're going to run. You're going to compete by being physical, and that's really it. And every now and then, when you get the ball, every 10 minutes or so, you're going to try and take the best advantage you can of a single chance. And that's really it. And that's probably going to be the game plan for Dallas coming into this, because I don't see a scenario where we try to control games. I think in the second half, especially if we're down 1-0, we'll have a little more possession, but all that possession will be converted into crossing, into finding Musa, early opportunities. But defensively, I don't think we'll concede a lot. I say a lot. I think we'll concede. It'll be probably a goal maybe in the first half, maybe early second. I don't think we get blown out. If we get blown out by Houston and Martin Boss lets in 3 or 4, man, Nico is in for a shitstorm. Like I can't even imagine how bad it's going to be with because at this point, I think fans are not giving up. Matador is like struggling to find things to be positive about. And
so
you
Jose,
go ahead.
What is your prediction for the game and the reasoning why? You touched on it, but give it to me, man. You're flirting with it.
And
it's okay
to be realistic. It's okay to be realistic. They're not going to come after you in Dallas.
And OSG, same question after him.
And tell you what. Let me give you like a best case scenario, worst case scenario from Dallas fans' perspective.
There you
Realistically,
go. Yeah.
Realistically, this may be like worst case scenario. Realistically, I think Houston wins 2-1. I think it's one of those scenarios where, just like the game this past week, which the game against Colorado was the biggest like shit show ever. It was 2 own goals on Dallas that they scored. 2 own goals. I can't even. The last time that happened was maybe the Sounders back in like 2019, coincidentally enough, against Dallas, where we beat them because they scored 2 own goals and a regular goal, and we won.
And that put them up 2-0 to make it hard for y'all to come back.
Exactly. So I was like perfect, right? Like it was hilarious back then, and now I'm feeling that shit. So it's like, wow. But I think Houston, yes. I think Houston probably will score, even though you guys are having your own kind of scoring issues at times. I think that it's probably going to be a set piece, maybe, and then a good ball over the top that Aliu gets on the end of, and they find a cross to somebody in the middle, and you guys score. Right, one of those things. I think we will score, but I think realistically probably 2-1. Best case scenario, though, a draw like 1-1. I don't see how Dallas wins. I just don't see how Dallas wins. It could be 0-0. And if it's 0-0, man, like, I'm sorry to everybody who tuned into the game. Probably not a lot of highlights on MLS 360, but, if it's 0-0, it is what it is.
I'm expecting
OSG?
0-0 or 2-0 in Dynamo favor. I'm like I said, Achachi's back, Sebas back, but we slacking on the scoring. So and it's Dallas, bro, and we can't.
It's two teams that aren't great at scoring. So it's like, I don't know,
and don't want to defeat each other for some friggin' reason. Like, bro, beat the shit out of the brother from North Texas, South Oklahoma, North Texas toll road. God, come on, please. Like,
I actually thought last year, I thought the last matchup against you guys last year was going to be a banger. I was telling everybody, I was like, dude, this is going to be the Texas Derby you want to go to. Was it 0-0? What was the score?
Something like it was. It definitely was a tie.
It was a draw, yeah. But
I got robbed. I remember that.
Yeah, I remember thinking, I was like, dude, this is going to be a banger game. And I was like, wow, that was really fucking disappointing. That was really disappointing. So, I don't know. I know I said 1-1 or 2-1. There might not be any goals in this one, guys. I have no idea.
Right. While you look that up, OSG, I'll give you mine.
No, I got you real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So September 30th in Houston, 0-0. May 20th last year in Dallas, 1-1. Back July 9th.
Yeah. The May was
1-1. July 9th, 2022, 2-2. The last time a team won was April 23rd, 2022. Dallas won 2-1. 2-1. And Dallas is 14 wins, 13 draws to 6 wins. So you definitely have the history as expected. But yeah, this series is crazy right now. And then prior to that was 3-2 Houston in Houston in 21. So nobody wants to beat each other. It's a freaking crazy rivalry. And if you and you said you're sorry for the 0-0, but it's going to be one of those physical, brutal. Somebody's going to have to make an extra save or just a game saving just to stop her. And you're going to remember that moment, even if it was 0-0. It's going to be one of those games. It's that atmosphere that you're expecting. And I'm hoping to see y'all's atmosphere that game, even though the stadium sucks. Is it
really that much worse than Shell Energy? Probably not.
It's a soccer.
It's a soccer. We had to sell.
It's a soccer stadium. It's not a hospital. It's a hospital.
No,
with a concert in it.
Stop. Hey, listen. All I know is I can't think of the last time I saw tickets for $16 at Toyota Stadium. I'll say that. I just can't think of the last time that happened. But with that said,
affordability in Texas is good. It's a high school stadium, but.
Yes,
I will give them this.
I'm not shooting their renovation.
The renovation on that end where they have the U.S. Soccer Hall of Fame. That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah,
that part is nice.
No,
it gives
the stadium looks better. It looks better.
Yeah.
It looks better.
Yeah.
I love Toyota, and what the crazy part about Toyota, while they're not like the fervent fans that some MLS fans get or stadiums get, I will say this, man, we sell out just about every single one. It's just a different type of fan. Like Frisco, I don't know, man. It's very suburban.
That's exactly what it is. It's
probably
nice
the best way I
there.
could describe it. Very suburban.
Yeah, Jose, it's definitely not a shot at the fans. It's a shot at the stadium more. It's just a concert stadium next to a hospital underground or whatever. I don't know, high school stadium, as Germán said. It's not a shot to the fans because I know y'all fill it up and you're pretty close to a sellout majority of the time, and we definitely don't have room to talk. We had a good attendance last game, and we're happy for that. Well, we provided a loss, so we got no room to talk. Not one bit. So
Texas Derby will fill up. I'm telling you guys, it will fill up. I unfortunately will not be at the game. I actually gotta meet family. But I know, man. It's tough. Oh, to tell you what, though, I want to go to Shell Energy for the next iteration of this game. That's why I think we could link up. I think
Make it
that would be
happen,
dope.
Captain.
Yeah, bro. I want to. Because coincidentally, I'm going to be seeing some family down in Austin. I'll be leaving Friday night and I'll be gone for the weekend. But
I'm not family.
I literally had to sell.
I'm not the family.
Yeah, and as a season ticket holder, trust me, bro, that one pained me. Like, damn, there's no way to get out of this. Like, I'm gonna have to miss the Texas Derby, but there will be another one, and I might try to do like a match day vlog. I don't know. We'll see. I want some content for that game. So when I get down to Houston, we'll link up for sure. OSG, it'll be good.
So friggin' Literally, Germán will be right there too, brother, for sure.
Hell yeah,
We'll see if we get. We'll see if we get Foxtrot for that game as well.
Yes, sir. And I agree with both of y'all. I was stuck between a 1-1 because Musa might hit on one of those crosses. And I think that emphasis for Dynamo this week in training has to be being more efficient in front of goal. So I imagine that they got to score at least one. So that's what I'm thinking it'll be. It'll be a 1-1. But Jose, it's a blast. I know OSG and I can keep on talking with you all night long. Unfortunately, we reached that time of the episode where we got to say goodbye. But before we do, sir, I was so excited and hyped about the intro, I forgot to ask you to share your social media platforms and tell us real quickly what you're up to, because I know you got a project that you're working really, really hard, and I want you to share that with the audience.
No, man, I appreciate that. Yeah, look, guys, I mean, look, if you want any of my takes, I got a bunch of them on the internet, not just around MLS. It's around everything, because like OSG already mentioned before, I watch as much footy as humanly fucking possible. But if you want to follow me on Twitter, at It's Bromigo, as it's spelled like it sounds, ITSBROMIGO. Outside of that, man, the only plug I have is go check out all things Foxtrot Media on GOLZ TV, GOLZ.TV. Go check it out, man. I mean, look, we're building something really special. This mid to late summer, we have a brand new iteration of the platform coming out, brand new version of it, which will come finally with a mobile app. I'm super pumped about it. It's a massive launch. I really can't thank the support that we've gotten already enough. And we're going to keep hopefully doing bigger and better things. But I won't tease much more than that. There's already a lot coming out. And all I'll say is, like, man, whether you watch this episode or tune into this episode or any others, Foxtrot Media is doing things that I feel like very few other creators in the MLS space are doing. So go check them out. I'm just pumped that they invited me to be on the show today.
Thank you once again, OSG. Love you, man. Houston Dynamo fans, we love you. Tune in to the next episode. H's.